don't really have anything to say except really use this opportunity as a chance to exchange views and ideas on the Dhamma. As a place for practicing Dhamma, it takes a lot of work to make a monastery and to create a suitable environment and a suitable place, the right conditions for the practice of Dhamma. It takes many years, and we can see with the establishment of this place, it has taken a lot of effort, a lot of dedication to build this building and make it suitable for the community, and also the huts. And the reason we have put this effort in and the sacrifice in from not only the monastics but all of the people here and the lay community elsewhere is because we wish to practice the Samana Dhamma, that is, the Dhamma of a peaceful one. So you have built this building as a reception place, and it takes a lot of work to purchase the land, to make the facilities, and then to protect it from nature, from the heat and from the cold. And all of these things take great sacrifice. And you've made that sacrifice not only for the monastic community who will abide here, but for the visitors who want to make use of the environment and the place. As a visitor, I myself still have to adapt to this new environment. I'm not familiar with the situation here, the climatic conditions and the environmental conditions. So for me to adapt 100% is not likely in such a short time. Probably I'll only make at least 60%. But I treat this as an experience, as an opportunity to have contact with all of you, and we look at these new changes and challenges as just normal experiences of nature. The other thing I want to say is meeting together like this arises because of our commitment to friendship and goodwill. The Buddha emphasized the coming together frequently, having contact with each other, and meeting together in harmony, goodwill, friendship, and in Dhamma. And it is the goodness within our hearts which draws us together. The other thing I want to say is the reason we're here is to practice Dhamma. And the practice of Dhamma is to know yourself, to know this body and mind. So we've come here to study, we've come here to learn, to get knowledge. It's like studying this particular location, this particular environment, this monastery, or this land. If we come here new, we need to walk the lay of the land, to study it, to know where things are. Like an astronaut, they send astronauts into space to study faraway places, so they know the lay of space, the lay of the land, so to speak, so they know where things are in the universe. The study of Dhamma is not the study of outer things like astronauts do, but the turning inwards of the mind to study oneself, not looking at others, but to study and look at yourself, focus on this body and mind. That's why we're here. This is a peaceful place which is suitable for the development of peaceful Dhammas. The development and cultivation of peaceful Dhammas begins with knowledge and understanding. And to obtain knowledge and understanding, we need to train ourselves. There is a Pali verse which translates as, the mind well trained leads to happiness. A well trained mind brings contentment. A happy mind is something we need to take special interest in and give importance to. We often are concerned with the well-being and health of the body. We're concerned with the strength of the body, its health, its nutriment, and so we focus on the body and forget the mind. But the mind is like the body in the sense that if the body is diseased, it's not healthy, it lacks nutriment and is malnourished, then that sickness causes great pain. So too if the mind is diseased with greed, hatred and delusion, then that sickness, the disease of greed, hatred and delusion, causes great pain. Or one can compare it to darkness. A mind overcome by darkness, the darkness of these illnesses, these three illnesses, do not lead to understanding. If one is in the dark, one cannot see. Light is the understanding. The light of the mind is the understanding of these things. If someone gets too hot, the hot heat of the body, their body temperature is too high, then it's not normal. We call it they are having a fever. So too, if our minds are excessively caught up in delight and aversion, then we too have caught a fever of emotions. So we must know how to cure ourselves, and this is the study of the practice that we have undertaken, to know how to cure ourselves, just like darkness is cured by turning on a light. The Buddha also, before his enlightenment, when he was still unenlightened, experienced discomfort, suffering, disease, the discomfort and disease of the defilements, which are an aspect of nature. But realizing that these things made him unhappy, he saw the danger in them. He saw the pain, the suffering, and so the unenlightened Bodhisattva sought release, escape from this suffering. And to escape from suffering, he first sought out a quiet place, a secluded place, suitable abodes, so that he could get to know himself, understand his mind, understand the nature of the mind. We don't study the nature outside of ourselves or watch that too much. What we do is turn and watch in the mind and body here. That's what the Buddha did. He turned his mind on itself, watched his own mind and watched his body. When we watch our bodies and minds, what we see is their changing nature. We see clearly that they're ceasing. We see clearly that things are arising and passing away. When we focus on the cessation of things, as the Buddha did, then we see, as the Buddha saw, that things are dying all the time. We are being separated constantly by things all the time, from things all the time, and with things all the time. There is constant separation, constant disintegration of everything around us, of all conditioned phenomena. We cannot rely on anything in the world. And this is what the Buddha saw as when he was an unenlightened Bodhisattva. he saw that you can't rely on anything because things are dying. People will die from us. Even our parents, our mothers, fathers, will be separated from us. And so the Bodhisattva used this perception of the cessation of phenomena as a way to abandon clinging to the world, abandon attachment to praise and blame and the worldly Dhammas. And when we see also that all things are disintegrating, are ceasing, are passing away, we see then that they don't have any use for us. They don't belong to us. We don't possess them. And we too can give them up and abandon them, like the Buddha did. The Bodhisattva, when he was a prince, he attended once the royal ploughing ceremony. And at that royal ploughing ceremony, when he was a young man, a young boy, he turned his attention away from the outside world to his in and out breathing. So when he was breathing in, he knew and placed his attention and mindfulness on his in-breathing. When he breathed out, he was aware of his out-breath, his exhalation. So knowing the in-breath and knowing the out-breath, continuously and fully knowing each in and out breath, and having no worries for the past or for the future, by keeping his mind in the present moment, he had feelings of joy, fullness, a sense of composure arose. And then by keeping his mind continuously on the breathing process, great happiness arose. And that happiness was not dependent on any pleasure from the outside world of the senses or from any delusion. It was a happiness that arose from the purification of mindfulness. This is something we need to develop, this awareness of mindfulness of breathing, just like the Buddha himself developed this mindfulness of breathing. The Buddha developed his complete conscious awareness of each in-breath as it went in and out. The Buddha is the one who knows. We too have to develop complete and full awareness of each breath as it goes in, and then when the exhalation occurs. We know that. When we know the in and out breathing continuously, then we place down and put down our worries and concerns for the past and for the future, so that no desire arises within us, so that feelings of delight or frustration and negativity fall away. We keep our attention just on the breath. And when we keep our attention on every moment of the breath, then that leads to full present moment awareness. And this leads to our understanding of ourselves, to know yourself, to be aware of yourself. When there is full present moment awareness, it has the characteristic of complete circumspection, to fully know oneself. So one has to, once one has developed this awareness of the mind, to fully know oneself, then one can turn that awareness towards the investigation of this body. Why do we turn the awareness to the investigation of the body? It's so that we can let go of clinging. That's what we want to achieve by turning our minds that are become peaceful in present moment awareness and fully still, then when we turn that mind with clear understanding and look at the body, then we do so with the purpose of abandoning all clinging, to release the mind of its attachments. So we turn the mind to looking at this very physical form of the body. It is one of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. It is one of the gammatana, the meditation subjects for monastics. And we can take up an aspect of the body, for example, hair of the head, hair of the body, nails, skins and teeth, etc., and investigate it. Ask ourselves, who does it really belong to? Can we have control over it? Can we keep it forever? The Buddha investigated his body and understood it. We need to also investigate this body and understand it. Ajahn Buddhadasa used to recommend, when your mind becomes peaceful, to ask the question of yourself, why was I born? When we really see truth, we see that there's no one there. When we really understand that there's no controller, there's no owner, there's no one there, there's not us, there's not them, then that leads to seclusion, real seclusion. This Kaya-viveka, the seclusion of the body. I don't mean here Kaya-viveka by just seeking physical seclusion in a quiet place. That's not real seclusion. When we really understand the body, we develop another sense of physical seclusion, Kaya-viveka. That is, physical seclusion through understanding that there's no owner to this body, no owner to this physique, this personality, this body of self, this body that's taken to be self. It is just body. Because we see and understand body as just body, we understand it according to its laws. When we really understand something completely, then we put it down, we abandon it, we let it go, because we see nothing worthwhile in it, nothing substantial. It is not us, it is not them, it is not belonging to anyone. This physical world really has no owner. This physical world and the land in the world cannot be possessed or bought, really. Beings just come into the world, live for a while, and then pass away. They're constantly passing away, and we too will pass away. They're constantly deteriorating, and we're too deteriorating. There is not a self there, and there's nothing to do with the self. There's just arising phenomena and their cessation. If someone really understands this and sees this, then their interaction with others will be peaceful always, because it arises out of knowledge and understanding. One becomes the one who knows, or the knower. One becomes awakened, the awakened one. If someone criticizes us, praises us, or blames us, or any of the other 8 worldly winds arise, we just see it as it is. We don't get caught up in praise and blame. We see truth in the nature of reality. We understand truth because we see truth in truth, or we see truth as it really is. or we see reality truly. When we understand this, then we can put everything down. And when we put everything down, we don't get caught up in likes or dislikes. We can abandon, let go of lust, let go of aversion, let go of delusion. We have to create an awareness that we are totally aware of what we're doing, so that we become someone who knows, someone who's awake. When we develop the mind from focusing on the breath of the in and out breathing to the point where there is clear comprehension and understanding, the mind is bright and alert and awake, then we turn that mind to understanding nama dhammas, that is, mental phenomena of mental characteristics. And these mental phenomena are happiness and the feelings of happiness that arise dependent on the body, and the feelings of happiness that arise dependent on the mind. They are unpleasant feelings, or dukkha, that arises dependent on the body or dependent on the mind, and they are neutral feelings that are dependent on body or mind. And so these feelings arise in the mind, and then they are a great cause for like and dislike. So we have to be very careful of like and dislike that arises in the mind, so that we don't get caught up in our moods and our emotions of following likes and rejecting dislikes. Because moods of like or preferences, they're things that we accept and open up to and want more of. Moods and emotions of displeasure we tend to reject and seek ways of avoiding those experiences. Happy feeling or pleasant feeling is something we have to know. We have to know ourselves. We have to know the nature of feeling by watching it, looking at it. Know your feelings now. Know happiness when it arises, and know happiness when it ceases. Know unpleasant feelings when they arise and when they cease. Because pleasure and happiness and displeasure and unhappiness just arise and pass away. That's their nature. They're just like that. They don't belong to us. It's just the way they are. They're not yours, they're not me, they're not mine, they're not ours, they're not us. They just are, arising, staying for a while and then ceasing. When we see the nature of phenomena and know it as just arising and ceasing, the nature of moods and emotions, happiness and pleasures and displeasure will cease. Then we see the uncertainty of everything. We see the nature of change, the impermanence of phenomena. Phenomena just actually follows its natural duty, its characteristic, its natural tendency, that is, to be born and to cease. It's normal for feelings to arise and cease. It's like the feelings that arise. When they arise as a feeling of pleasure, is similar to a cloud that travels in front of the moon. When a full moon has a cloud moving in front of it, then the light of that moon becomes diminished. When we get lost in pleasurable feelings, it's like the cloud covering the light of the moon. When we get lost in unpleasant feelings, it is like the cloud enveloping that moon again. Nothing shines. The light of the moon is not seen. It is diminished because of the cloud. Everything returns to its nature, and the nature of everything is to cease. When we see that night leads to day, and then day will lead to night, then we don't hang on to night and day as belonging to ourselves. We understand that night and day, light and dark, is just nature. So too, when we see the phenomena of the world, all the characteristics of the world, all the sankharas of the world, arising and passing away, we understand them as just like night and day, not belonging to us. They just arise and pass away, they change. And that way we put things down, we let go of things, we release things. What do we put down? We put down pleasure, and we release displeasure. We put down happiness and release unhappiness. By abandoning pleasure and pain, by abandoning like and dislike, and then we're losing our ability to be under the control of these things. We're no longer under the power of like and dislike, under the power of happiness and sorrow. When we understand things and abandon them, then they lose their power over us. Because we see these things as changing, we see them as valueless, as worthless. We don't seek after them because we know they will die, we know they will cease, that it is their natural characteristic to disappear. When you see something is going to disappear and cease, then it becomes worthless. We lose our interest in it. It loses its value. And therefore we become peaceful from happy feelings. We become peaceful from painful feelings. There is just left the mindfulness of upekkha. There is just left mindfulness in conjunction with upekkha, equanimity. When mindfulness and equanimity are in conjunction, then the mind becomes complete. It is tranquil. It is released from all clinging. That mind that is based in mindfulness, clear comprehension and equanimity has become secluded, tranquil, calm, happy. It has given up all the clinging to feelings and moods. One becomes someone who's awake, someone who knows, is joyous and serene. It's like knowing the visitors who come into this room. You know and understand this is a good person, or this is a person who has the potential to be dangerous. And the dangerous person, we know, we're not deceived by their lies or their conceits or their deceptions. We understand them. When we understand them, then they lose their power over us. So all the people here in this place have come out of your faith, dedication to the Dhamma, because you're interested in the Dhamma. Now we have to practice that Dhamma so that we get to this point where we too become one who knows, someone who is awakened and serene. When we see that all phenomena are changing, then this occurs. It's like an adult. Adult sees a child playing with toys. Because we're an adult, we don't see that those toys, those games of the child, are interesting anymore. We know them as just childish games without meaning. Yes, the child is caught up in the game. It's the stage of the child. But the adult is not deceived. It is like we know we're going to see a play or a drama. When there is a drama on, if you're not interested in that drama or play, and you get up and leave because you see it as meaningless, as pointless, then the drama ends, the play ends. Because if the actors see there's no audience, then they give up the drama and play. So the play comes to an end. The play comes to an end by giving up your interest in it, by abandoning, by leaving the stage, by leaving the auditorium. You bring that drama to an end because of your lack of interest in the play. When you see that all sankharas are disappearing, then it's like this. We drop them, we put them down, we turn our interest away from them, and they come to an end. And the practice of Dhamma is understanding that the eye will cease, the ear will cease, the nose, tongue, taste, bodily contact, all these phenomena of the five senses are ceasing. So we see it as meaningless, as a child's play, as a child's drama. We're not interested in it. This is the way the Buddha saw the world, and this is the way the Aryans, the enlightened ones, see it. They have a freedom. They have happiness which arises out of that freedom. When they have to interact with the world, then they do so with release. They interact because it's a duty, but they don't do it out of any misunderstanding of the world. So I want all of you who are here this evening and in this place to develop that sense of freedom and sense of release by understanding the drama of the world is impermanent. Lose your interest in it, let it go, abandon it. And as everyone here has the potentiality and also the capability of realizing these same states and qualities that the Buddha and all the Aryans realized. It is through the training of the mind, it's through this practice that we undertake, and that practice will lead to fulfillment. It is not a material fulfillment, you can't see it from the outside, but it's a fulfillment within. So to be interested in Dhamma means that you're interested in the practice of Dhamma. But don't worry and don't be in a hurry. Don't worry about the future, whether you're going to realize these ultimate states. It will happen if you walk the path. Just like somebody who takes one step after another will reach the end of the path, the end of the journey. Do not worry about when you'll get results. Do not be impatient for quick results. Just if you eat food continuously, then you'll gradually become full and become content, and the pain and suffering of hunger will fall away. So, if you have this determination to practice, then you get to know yourself. And if you endeavor in this way, then you understand these Aryan Dhammas. these Dhammas, these truths of the Noble Ones, which can be realized, can be seen. They lead to a transformation of us through practice and training. And that practice and training depends on putting forth time, endeavor and effort continuously. And each and every one of us have this marvelous opportunity here at this time and on this occasion, in this suitable, very pleasant place. Thank you. Dhammayang dhammakata sadhukarang yatamase